What do you think about college? I had somebody ask me if they should go to college or not, and kind of what the options were. So I answered the email, and then I decided to make this video. Look out, college, I'm coming after you hard. Since I was about 16 years old, I've had a pretty skeptical outlook in general about college. I watched as most of the older kids in my neighborhood, they went off to school, and I watched as their parents cheered them on. And it turns out I watched them graduate and work their way through these post-collegiate years. And at first I hated college just because I wanted to be done with school, finished, and I wanted to get to work. The last thing in the world I wanted to do was sit around in school for an additional 4 years. Now, as I've grown older, I've seen some real reasons where college could be helpful, but a few big reasons why I really don't like the current state of college education, especially in the good old US of A. Now, we all want to find some purpose in our lives, and loads of us go off to college to find our purpose and find our way. At least, that's the story that's sold to us. The problem with this approach is that more than likely you're going to be taking on $100,000 in bad debt to do it. Debt that has no equity, debt that you can't declare bankruptcy against, debt that will be passed along to your children, bad debt. And something like 70+% of graduates leave their school in debt. So the discerning eye would look at college as being far from practical for that reason alone. It's not even a sure thing you'll make more money if you go to school anymore. What will end up happening is you'll just be a slave to various forms of debt for your entire life. I'm not sure that alone would be considered successful, let alone be considered a happy life. My generation and everyone coming after me has this incredible access to many modes of education that our parents didn't have, but we still enter college by the droves, and our parents virtually suffocate us into attending, and then just convince themselves that the young 16 to 18-year-old version of us knew exactly what we were getting ourselves into. Then, of course, when we come back to their home to ask for money or a place to stay or you name it. See, just about the entire world pressures every high schooler out there into attending college. And just think about, the pressure of parents and student counselors alone. It's irresponsible, and it pushes most kids into college who feel like they have to go for basically no reason other than not disappointing the people around them in their lives. They can't bear the thought of sticking out or being different. Virtually all parents overvalue college for their own self-esteem, and they sacrifice their children on the altar of higher education so they look like good parents to the world and, of course, feel good about themselves. It's sad, it's irresponsible, and it's shackling an entire generation with suffocating debt during some of the most important years of their life. Remember, you have the internet and millions upon millions of hours of free educational material, literally at your fingertips. Get creative, learn, build a portfolio, create an amazing resume, show prospective employers why you stand out. And soon enough, they'll learn that just because every 20-something's kid has a degree, it doesn't mean they're all qualified for that job. Make yourself stick out. So that's going to bring me to kind of my biggest angst-worthy thing about most institutions of higher learning in this country. Colleges are just flat out terrible at teaching. Those who cannot do, teach. I guess I should preface this by saying that there are a bunch of what I would refer to as legitimate degrees. For instance, I would prefer that my surgeon has spent some time learning from the best and has gone to medical school, right? Maybe completed a medical residency and maybe even has some additional experience. That would be great. A philosopher, if any still exist, would learn a great deal from access to some of the brightest minds in the world and the greatest libraries that we have to offer. But where in this current watered-down collegiate system can you find even a great conglomeration of these amazing minds, right? Lawyers, physicists, chemists, and a million others could all reap value from a great college education, but it must be a great college education. Tertiary education is typically any education above the high school education level, right? It's that third level of learning. Part of the problem we have in this country is that this tertiary education, these tertiary educational institutions are by and large garbage. They have extraordinarily low standards. They should hardly even be referred to as universities because they're basically just a continuation of your high school education. And because of that, they are, for the most part, in my opinion, a complete and utter waste of my time, of your time, everyone's. Our college educations aren't being, it's not about being educated anymore. It's about receiving this high-priced job training. And we must stop insisting that everyone goes to college to get a job. Vocational schools. What about real apprenticeships? This should be the target that you and I press for as a society and just as individual students. So allow me to paint just a brief picture for you of this bright young girl. Let's call her Olivia. She enters college, works her butt off for a double major in finance and communication. She stays away from the party scene, doesn't get into trouble, gets great grades, works her tail off for it. But then upon completion of college, she realizes that the best job of probably the hundreds that she's applied to is a $12 per hour gig at the local bank. Does that justify crippling debt for 10 to 20 years of your life? Student loans and the cost of college have got to be the greatest form of legal thievery that is perpetuated in modern society. It's insane. So my advice to any high schooler is that after high school, take a year off, work a dead-end job, spend your time studying and learning about what interests you. Do it via the scores of online resources that are available, much of the time for free. Then try to find an internship or an apprenticeship and learn from your peers who are actually doing it every day. They're in the field. Find a startup, find a small business, start your own company, use some creativity and build a body of work or a resume that transcends a degree. It can be done. I mean, I had a college offer me a full-time job teaching Photoshop, new media, and graphic design, despite not having a college degree in any of that or in teaching. I've had opportunities to work with colleges like Stanford and Purdue and others, all without a degree at all. Look around. I mean, we can look back at history at some of the great and remarkable people who are in our society making a difference, who've done huge things despite not having a college degree, right? You got Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Paul Allen, Warren Buffett, who, by the way, did go back later in life and got both his bachelor's degree and an MBA later in life, Michael Dell, and there's more people. My point is that you're not going to get anything special by going to college. You're not going to graduate and have a job waiting for you by going to college. You will not find success by going to college. College is no guarantee of anything other than a piece of paper that says you're good at something. You're going to get a load of student loan debt, and for some people, a bunch of STDs. Now, the difference is not the college and the degree, but the difference is the person who has the drive, who won't quit, who wants to think outside the box, who isn't afraid to take a risk. Find that person, or for that person, I should say, awaits this world of untapped potential while all their peers are off chasing a college degree. And of course, it's a case-by-case thing. Some people, it totally makes sense to go to college, but for the vast majority of people, a degree is a waste of money that just helps them or their parents feel nice and cozy about life. And I mean, in this whole system, students can't win. College has almost become a necessity to most people, and that necessity has been made totally and completely unaffordable. College needs to be less expensive, and college needs to be more rigorous about real education. Cut the fluff, teach kids real stuff, let them learn from their peers in the field who are working, and stop taking advantage of these kids, these young adults, trying to get started with their life and trying to become successful. Until that happens, until I see something like that, personally, I'll have a difficult time recommending college to almost anyone. So what do you think about college? Especially, I guess, what do you think about college for graphic designers, web designers, photographers? I would love to hear what you have to say. Please leave a comment down below. I'm going to link in some additional resources. John Oliver has an amazing Last Week Tonight, I think is what it's called, on student loan debt. There's something by Gary Vaynerchuk and Casey Neistat that I also like, and maybe just a couple other things that I find. I'll link down in the description of this video for you to check out. But yeah, what do you think about college? I would love for you to leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about it. Am I totally off base? Or do I make what seems like a valid argument? I'm not a big fan of college as it stands, and maybe it's just college here in the United States and the way things are, but it seems like a really, really raw deal for most of the people that go and jump into the college scene. So that's it for this one. Nathaniel Dodson, tutvid.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you go check out the website, www.tutvid.com, for more great free tutorials, resources, and all that good stuff. Take it easy.